Chapter 1153. The birth of Loki. Is this what I think it is? Is this going to be a actual Loki flashback? I believe it might be. Okay. Surrogate Pilgrimage Volume 37, Daimyo of Ringo, Kiku Nojo, and Boss Ocho. Yes. Yes. That's very cute. It's very cute. So, I'm starting to think more and more. When I was talking about like a return to Wano thing of where we just kind of relax on Wano in the same way we did with Water 7, I think Oda is literally just making this cover story, the return to Wano cover story, and that's it. Like straight up, like at this point, it's just a goofy little adventure. Okay, let's see. Prince Harald of Elbaf lived out his rather unhinged childhood years alongside Dory, and Bragi. There he is. Bro, they look so cursed. They look so very cursed. Why do they look like... Is this supposed to be an asterisk and obelisks? I don't know how it's in English. Is this supposed to be a reference to that? Because it looks like it. The two of them straight up, like they have this vibe. Minus the helmet, maybe. Straight up. It's a very, very round boy. A very, very round boy. I think the Giants are basically that. I mean, in this case, like, even the outfit matches. Like, the only thing that's missing is the helmet. And that's it. Okay. Thanks to his innate size and strength... Wait, I need to do my narrator voice. What am I doing? I need to bring out my narrator voice. Thanks to his innate size and strength, gifts from his ancient giant blood, as well as his noble status, he developed an inflated sense of self, and no one could stop him from growing into a royal pain. Everyone outside of Elbaf is so tiny and pitiful and boring. Don't you agree? Oh, of course, your majesty. You're exactly right. Bunt Kingdom, New World. Come one, come all, marvel at the 10-meter woman. Feel the earth tremble as she walks. Cover your ears when she barks thunder. A rare giant from the exotic land of Elbaf. Feast your eyes on Ida. That's pretty diabolical. I think they're supposed to be scared, but the parent with the kid doesn't look scared, they look excited. You keep viewing Loki through the Norse mythology lens, but this is Oda. Of course, he's going to make his own twist. Yeah, but Blackbeard is very much akin to what he is. Well, to be fair, Captain Kidd is not. Right? Like, Captain Kidd is obviously not at all. I find it very, very odd. Okay, let's see this. Turning a giant into a sick sideshow. They've got some nerve. So we got another liberator. Settled... Brother! Settle down. Settle down. Take a deep breath. Settle down. This is a family-friendly stream. Family-friendly stream. Relax. They thought that Elbaf was a joke. Well, who's laughing now? Who are you? No need to thank me. I'm the king of Elbaf. I won't stand to see my homeland disrespected like that. And then he got slapped. Your Majesty, King Harald. What? Turn the ship around. I need to apologize. So many people were hurt back there. What the hell is this gonna be? Wait, is this gonna be like Loki's mom or something? Are you insane? You care about that mini kingdom of tiny humans? Do I have to hit you again? King Harald, they saved my life, and when I washed up on the shore, they gave me a job. Well, I mean, I don't think it's a job. I don't know about it being a job. I mean, I guess if you're like, you know what, let's goof around. Let's goof around, do a little play, and then we could just like both make money. I guess that's all right. I guess that's not too bad. They were kind enough to help me make a living until I was fully healed. What do you mean, tiny humans? Just because you happen to be born huge and are coincidentally strong and brutish, you actually think that makes you better than humans? How could you be so arrogant? It's pathetic. This is why everyone thinks that all giants are barbaric and brutish as Elbaf. Oh my god, you're right. I'm dumb. I didn't even realize the horns are gone. Yeah, the whole thing was fake. Yeah, I didn't even notice that. I'm dumb. Yeah, the horns are fake, so I assume this was fully like above board. This is not even like a... Because like, this is one of those situations where you could say like, oh, but like it's still exploitative, right? Like we don't know much about what was actually going on there, and she could be like, well, yeah, they helped me, but I mean at the same time it's pretty exploitative, right? But if even the horns were fake, then yeah, this is just a circus. Because I was immediately like, this is One Piece, this is gonna be a liberation type of deal, but it's not. No slavery, smiley face. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much a rare One Piece situation where it is indeed someone was locked in a cage, and it's actually not bad. It was just a little circus, a little goof. So I assume this is where Harald was like, let's how about we actually start using our noodles and not be just like Giga Chads, right? Because he actually saw the outside world, and one of their own was kind of like, why are you looking down on them? That's not a pun. Just because I was born huge? Oh yeah, I mean, this is all wholesome. This is fine. Look at this. They're just working together. There's even a clown. He's Buggy's long-lost brother. Should we just set sail, King Harald? Why are you all just spacing out? Huh? Go and help her, you unite... Ninnies? Ninnies? Okay. That town is as tiny as a model. It's easy work. Okay, there we go. King Harald became a bro. He was like, yeah, actually, you're talking sense. Wait, is this how easy it is to fix all problems? You're just like, stop being dumb. They're just people, and then everyone gets like happy and everyone's friends. Maybe. Slap some sense into people. I mean, maybe it really is that simple. I mean, to be fair, it's worked with Luffy dozens of times. Like, Luffy just sometimes punches people, and they're like, yeah, actually, you have a point. He uses the talk no jutsu. I mean, there it is. There it is. Because, I mean, we talked about the whole Harald thing earlier in the arc as well, right? Like, the whole Elbaf is no longer a warland, and, like, Elbaf is becoming weak, but at the same time, Elbaf has all of this history. There was, like, the whole thing of, obviously, Emu tries to burn books. There's, like, oh, you're weak, and you only care about these little fantasy books, like, what makes you strong is war, and at the same time, Emu literally uses a book as a source of their power, right? So there is obviously, like... He already sort of tips his hand in terms of what is actually real. Like, you fight to protect the books. So this is Harald basically realizing, wait a minute. Like, the fact that you're strong doesn't need to... You don't need to go around just, like, literally killing people. Right? You can help people, and that makes you strong. So I really hope we explored that angle here. Because I think it was very, like, right off the bat when we started to see, like, the whole... Elbaf is weak now. I hope we explored that angle. He was around 15 in giant years. Def needed a slap. I mean, fair enough. I can't criticize what works. Their method of construction is completely different to ours. We should tell everyone about it when we return to Elbaf. There we go. Again. You made friends, you made an ally, you learned something new. Big brain. I want to bring home some of their spices. I've never tasted flavors like this before. Notice how hardy their fabric is? There it is. And yet, it's so fine. These humans are more skilled than we realized. Is that supposed to be the Nika dance? It is supposed to be the Nika dance. You have to see things from their eye level, Harald. Nothing in this world is meant to be destroyed. Look, I think I've read enough One Piece to know that, like, nothing in this world is meant to be destroyed. And now we are in a flashback. I don't think this is gonna be happy. I think Harold's gonna have, like, I think Harold's going to try to do good, and then something very bad's about to happen. That's the thing I'm getting. It's the Nika dance. It's the Nika dance. I was born on... Wait, I switched pages. I was born on Samwanai Island in the South Blue. After some twists and turns, my lives brought me here. So, you crossed the Serpent of Blood? You mean the Red Line? Well, yes, which is why I can't go home. The Serpent of Blood. Have we heard the Red Line referred to as something else before? I don't think we've ever had, like, localized versions of the Red Line. I think it's always just been the Red Line. There hasn't been, like, the unsaleable waters, the line that shall not be crossed. The mystical whatever. Serpent on the mural is the red line. I mean, that seems to be the implication. Hasn't it been called the red serpent? I don't remember. Let me look this up. Red serpent. Oh yeah, there's a theory 9 years ago. I had completely forgotten about this. Yeah, I didn't know about this. Well, the mural is obvious. Yeah, the mural 100%. I didn't know this was already mentioned before. I guess so early in Little Garden, I was just like, they're just yapping. It is interesting that we have never seen these localized versions of the red line, though. It's interesting that this is effectively like the only one we have. It was theorized for so long since Little Garden, but only now we have a confirmation. I wonder if there are other titles that might... Because, like, sometimes, and this is very rare because it's hard to do, there are a few series that like to use different titles and different names for the same thing, and through having these multiple versions of what is the same thing, you can piece together the truth, right? So I wonder if that's maybe what we're going to see. Because, like, what... We say it's like the serpent, right? And it's on the mural as the serpent. What the hell does that mean? Like, we can say it's the serpent on the mural, but what the hell does that actually mean in practice? What is it? How does it work? But yeah, I had completely forgotten about this red serpent stuff. Completely forgot. I guess it's time to reread Little Garden. I think that would be very timely now. A giant serpent eating itself. I think it's from Norse mythology or something. What you're referring to is the, what's it called? The snake eating itself. I don't think that's Norse. That's like the, completely forgot what it's called. I mean, in Norse, there's just the giant sea serpent. Ouroboros, that's the one. The Ouroboros. That's the thing that eats itself. But that's not from Norse. I'm pretty sure it's not, at least. Because, like, in Norse, there is just the giant sea serpent. I don't want to try and pronounce its name. But that has nothing to do with unsailable waters or anything. That's just like a massive sea serpent. So that's what I mean. Like, we say it's a giant sea serpent, the serpent of blood, but what the hell does that mean in practice? Because, like, what Jormungand. Jormungunder. Jormungand. I don't know. Something like that. Okay, let's keep on going. Let's keep on going. Then come to Elbaf. We're not as barbaric as you say. Oh, maybe I was mistaken about you too. King Harald's changed. Yeah, he's creepy. I bet it won't last long. So, bro got a crush, and suddenly he's a very nice guy. See how easy that was? See how easy that... This was unironically the I can fix him. I can fix him. And it worked. Elbaf, 105 years ago. I wish to atone for all of my countless crimes. What's gotten into you, Harald? I may be out of the country more often than I'd wish, but it is only to join hands with the neighbors and ask them to teach us their culture. If we learn from the rest of the world, we can make our land and lives richer. There it is. This is what I mean. This is what I mean. You become a Giga Chad, you work with other people, and then you fight to protect what you have. This is what makes them strong. Not being a Giga Chad army. Harald's only 15 years old by human standards, so it's natural that he is impressed this easily. He is supposed to be very young here, yes. Yeah, but Dory and Bragi are still raising hell out there. Wah. They are good friends of mine, but they have always been eccentric. They're cordial with humankind and follow a code of honor. That's true. It doesn't hurt that they can fight, of course, but if they pose too much of a threat to other nations, we may have to rein them in. I mean, bro's a good king. I think bro's a very good king. I think he's smart. I like this guy. I sure hope nothing tragic happens to him. This is why the world government bans travel, keep people separated and uneducated. They're easy to control, manipulate with propaganda. I mean, I think that's definitely an angle of it, yeah. Like, again, this all goes back to the whole thing of burning history, right? If you burn history, if you burn books, if you burn, like, actually... If you basically can manipulate what people believe, what people effectively think the world even is, that's who holds power, right? So it's largely the same thing we've seen before, but this is just like an extreme form of it. I do wonder... I really, really wonder what the history between Elbaf and the world government looks like. Because I think, like, the only super early days stuff that we've seen is with fishmen, right? Like, giants have... We know that giants were always a thing that they were worried about, and they always had, like, those experiments and whatnot. And obviously there is still Big Mom and stuff, right? But the political intrigue between them has kind of always been a little bit ambiguous. They obviously perceive them as a threat, but we don't know if they've tried anything before. Presumably they have. Because, I mean, Nika in the first place. Harald still has 91 years to live. I'm pretty sure something bad's gonna happen faster. Isn't this the oldest backstory timeline-wise in the entire story? I mean, no, because we have technically seen Joy Boy. Technically. I think in terms of actual events, this is the oldest one. Oh, Noland. Noland's before that. Yeah, you're right. Noland's before that. Noland is way before. Ouroboros is from Maya and Azteca legends. Might be, I'm not 100%. Okay, let's see. What a turnabout. Bojaja. Meeting new people took him on a journey. Harald? No. Elbaf is blessed with good luck. I don't think you're blessed with good luck. I just think you're using your noodle. You're just like, wait a minute, we're doing really good. How about we just use what we have? We go out there, we trade with people, we trade knowledge, we trade information. This is what you do when you're doing good. This is not good luck. This is just you being good. This is just being big brain. Finally a smart king? Bro, I am like locked in with Harald. I am fully in support of Harald. Harald the GOAT. For example, by sending diplomats back and forth, we can help deepen the ties and friendships between nations. I see, so we're each taking hostages then. Don't say it like that. It means that countries can't get to be friends unless the people in them are connected somehow. I'm just looking at the logos and bottles and stuff, but I think that's just supposed to be a Viking. I don't think there's anything more to it. I thought maybe there's an Easter egg of some kind. So if Elbaf was building out all of these allies, and we know that the royal government was like paranoid about Elbaf itself, right? Like Elbaf was basically the last land they had never conquered, never even had any chance of conquering. So was all of this just slowly, one by one, cutting off Elbaf's allies to eventually get to Elbaf itself? Because that's what it's looking like. But at the same time, no, but Wano was an emperor's territory. That makes sense. Because I was about to say it's kind of like the same thing as Wano, right? Interesting. Because if Elbaf was the heart of a whole alliance, that's kind of crazy. I want to know the politics behind this. I want to see what the world government was doing every step of the way. I want to know when they realize that they're a threat, they need to be wiped out and everything. I need lore. Okay. Elbaf, 81 years ago. Fisherman village, Eastern Elbaf. The baby's been born? Congratulations, Harald and Ida. Okay, so it is his mom. We can confirm that. Thank you all. And now, Ida, I can... No, you're forbidden from marrying her. The royal line must remain pure of blood. Nah, that's cringe. That's cringe. Harald is already a big brain. Harald should have been like, no. This is where we change it up. Government doesn't want Elbaf to be peaceful. It wants to be in a worse state. That's why they're burning their library right now. I mean, yeah. But I mean, like, if Elbaf was building out this effectively almost global alliance by the looks of it, right? Like, that is a way bigger threat to the world government than any single nation. So what I'm thinking is they realize that Elbaf is a threat. And over the course of these 60, 70 years, they have been wiping out nations one by one and effectively limiting Elbaf's influence until we reach the present day. And they're actually landing on Elbaf itself, right? Like, it looks like Elbaf was the heart of not just the giants, which are hard to control, but they were the heart of an alliance, which is like 10 times crazier. Which, by the way, we have never really seen in One Piece. We have never really seen a ton of examples of nations being allied with other nations. We have factions like the revolutionaries and stuff, but we've never really dealt with singular nations being like, wait a minute, the other nation is being attacked, we gotta send people there. And Luffy started building those connections with Dressrosa. It's not Dressrosa. It's every single kingdom we have been to. In every single kingdom that Luffy has been to, he is friends with the crown. Every single one, I think, without exception. I don't think there's a single kingdom that we have been in that we are not allies. Which is crazy, right? And if Luffy says, listen, we gotta all come together and we gotta basically restart the Elbaf alliance of sorts, that'd be very interesting. And Dressrosa was a big step up. Dressrosa was huge, yeah. And Dressrosa, Alabasta, I mean, they're both big. But Dressrosa, I mean, by the end of the arc, we had literal statues. So, yeah. Okay. I'm sorry, Ida. It galls me that it must come to this. This is just how our culture works. You can get emotional and fight against it. You're always welcome in our village, Ida. As long as you live in the same country as Daddy, you'll be happy, right, Harjudin? Ah! Nah, I said I was 100% on board with Harald. He should have been like, nah, this doesn't make any sense. I think Harald should have been like, nah, we're changing. Look at all these other places. They're doing things differently. What's this about a royal bloodline? Who cares? Why don't we just like test it out, see what happens? But I mean, okay. You can't win them all. You can't win them all. This is the true betrothed Harald. Estrid's blood is pure and ancient. She is the one worthy of being our queen. And I study geomancy. I was born in the Pruwards village to the north. I think he's just trying to keep everyone happy, or at least not mad. I mean, yeah, like, heavy falls the crown and all that, right? But I do think the fact that he will eventually rip out his horns, I think that's going to be another thing that is recontextualized by knowing this. That's just like my guess I'm throwing out there right now. Because we already talked about the whole ripping out horns thing. I think this is another part of why he might have done it. Maybe there's a reason we don't know about that makes him not stand up to them. I mean, currently he is still kind of young, right? Like, he's still not super old. So I would assume that this is like the thing of you're kind of like a young king, and all of your... I mean, look at his advisors, which, by the way, they're silhouettes, so you might be right. Like, they're silhouettes, there might be a reason why there are silhouettes of just like, no, you can't do this, you must do this and that and this and that. There is a very good chance that there is something sus going on. But what I was going to say is that this might just be the typical thing of a young king who has all of these, like, people around him who are like, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this, and you just can't maneuver through all of this, and you're just kind of like, okay, you're my advisors, we'll do this. I might push back against this, but I'll do this, and then, like, we keep it in check, you know? Horn ripping as a rejection of pure blood and the old Elbaf traditions that forced him and Ida apart in the first place. Yeah, I think it's going to be something like that. Maybe it's a bit cliche, but I do think there's going to be an angle of him basically, like... Because he is already... Like, the fact that he is sailing around and talking to people and being like, we don't really need to fight anyone, right? That's already a huge deal. And now if he's like, I found this girl, she's cool, I kind of want to marry her, like, you know, now I and Ida can, no, you can't do that. I think he's going to be like, nah, this stuff doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to rip out my horns. Basic elder trope, pretty much. Okay, let's see. It is my fate to love you for the rest of my life. Forget all about that woman and child to the east. East. Every single time Oda specifies the directions, I find it sus. Especially when it's the east. Because, you know, like Rising Sun. Sun, One Piece. Sun, you know, all that. Freedom and yada yada yada. He did the same thing with rocks. Isn't that very coincidental, isn't it? It's just the previous page. I know. But I'm saying, I know it was East Elbaf, I know. But why is it East Elbaf? That's what I'm talking about. I know it's not a huge lore reveal. But why did he specify East Elbaf? Why did he specify that rocks came from the east? The rising sun in One Piece is a huge deal. The sun rises in the east. Every single time we see these characters and Oda specifies that something is in the east, my spidey senses go off. East blue. Why is it east? Think about it. Think about east. Never forget about the East. East blue. Think about it. Think about it. Why did rocks come from the East? Why is this in the East? Sus. Very sus. Okay. Oh, that's all. No, he doesn't know what to do. He's like, I don't want this. I already got a wife. I don't want this. I don't want this. East blue, because if it was called the West blue, it couldn't be true because it is in the East. Man. That's crazy. Elbath, Brewer's Village, prestigious daughter, Estrid. Good heavens! The spirit is escaping to the east! Your good luck is getting away. We must close the windows at once. Huh? And that mirror, it's in the 5-star kill position. Destroy it at once! The same reason why Luffy wins when there is sun coming out from the clouds, the horizon. Exactly. People are not talking about east. East! Why did rocks come from the east? That was the first thing I said in the chapter. Of all the things you could specify, why would rocks come from the east? That's a crazy thing to say, Oda. It's west if you go east far enough. This chick is crazy. I'm not gonna go on a rant, but whenever people start talking about these superstitions, there's not a lot of things in this world that make me want to combust in flames. Superstitions, astrology, weird reading tea leaves, looking at whatever makes my blood boil. Shut up. No one cares. Okay. This is Asla, the horse of good fortune. I don't want to be mean, but it looks a little bit weird. Also, isn't this like... Yeah, exactly. I was about to say, isn't this just like straight up Sleipnir? Like, I think this is just straight up Sleipnir. Odin's horse, yeah, the 8-legged horse. I think this one has 6 legs though, so it's like the bug variant. Oh no, wait, it does have 8 legs. It's just weird where they are. Bro, what the hell are the legs? So he has 2 legs and 2 in the front. Something weird's going on with the perspective on the legs. Something very weird's going on the perspective of the legs. It looks like a freaking Dark Souls boss. He does have 8 legs. Son of Loki from when he turned into a female horse and got pregnant. Something like that. That panel is atrocious, not Oda's finest. I'ma be real, I don't think there's a way of making an 8-legged horse look normal. Like, horses already look weird. People don't talk about the fact that one of the reasons why horses are hard to animate is just because horses look weird. Like, horse legs are the weirdest thing nature has ever created. What the hell are... What the hell are those legs? Why are they, like, bendy? Horses are weird. And if you give them 8 legs... Noodle legs, pretty much. Pretty much. Have you seen, like, when a horse tries to sit down, what happens to its legs? They kind of, like... They just kind of, like, fall apart. It's so weird. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. Also, when horses sleep, they look like they're dead. You know how, like, sometimes you're driving in the car and you just see, like, 4 legs poking up? And it's just a horse living its best life? When horses run, they only have 1 foot on the ground at the same time? Are you sure about that? Horse running. I think you're actually right. Every single one of these horses is just 1 leg. I mean, this is, I guess, 2 legs. So, it's kind of not true. Kind of not true. Okay, let's not talk about horses. It's a gift from my clan. The perfect mount for you, King Harald. I have no doubt that this horse will bring you great luck. It's enormous. And why does it have 8 legs? I mean, valid question. Which, by the way, I know I've talked about this a million times. The fact that these are giants, with bigger giants, with an even bigger giant, and an even bigger giant horse? I just sometimes forget that we're talking about Elbath. I just think these are very cool looking, like superhuman shaped humans. Why would you say that? That's a crazy thing to say. That's a crazy thing to say. Okay. Guards, bring in all the jewels and gold in the treasury to my chambers. That is to ensure that the fortunes of wind and earth are sent in his majesty's direct... What the hell are you talking about? Also, inform the scullery maids that from this day forward, the king and I will be using the fine silver to eat all of our meals. Is she just luxury? Is she just after luxury? I'm pretty sure, yeah. I'm pretty sure she's weird, and she just likes to have a lot of money. She is giving me bad vibes. She is giving me very, very bad vibes. Very, very bad vibes.
About 70 years ago, in an era where the rigors of the sea made it difficult to trade between islands, to maintain trade between islands, Elbaf's skill at navigation was the envy of other nations.
When the rigors of the sea made it difficult to maintain trade between islands. Fascinating. Nami's training arc? Could be. Could be. Could be. Harald visited Wano, probably something there with Onigashima. Oh no. Oh no. I just hope that we see him travel around to all the places we know. I just want this to be another Roger flashback. I just want to see Harald be like another dude who was just walking around collecting all this lore, and then he was killed, which is very sad. Very sad. There's a star to the north that never moves called the Pole Star. Huh? What do you mean? So, isn't this like unironically one of the biggest things that has been lore dropped about the Grand Line and about everything? The fact that you could navigate with stars? Because the whole thing about One Piece is that there is no form of navigation outside of the log poses, and I guess eternal poses. Bro, I was like, there's no way you could use anything for navigation because it's One Piece. Nothing makes sense. Bro is just like, yeah, actually, you can use the North Star. Just look, bro, it's right there. Wait, so theoretically, if someone knows about this, this is just like you could literally go anywhere. Like, literally. This means you can go anywhere, between any places at the same time. All you need to know is basically the distance. That's crazy. Is this just our Earth all this time? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I do think it's very odd that he is the only one who has known this, and that we are on chapter 1000 something and no one's even considered this. At the same time, though, no, but this seems so ridiculous. Bro, we're gonna find out that Emu has destroyed the sky. How is this even... How do you even hide... Why didn't anyone else figure this? I'm just like thinking, how does this even make sense? Was there seriously no one who just put 2 and 2 together? Navigation is forbidden in the One Piece world government? Yeah, but people figured this out in like 3000 BC. They were just like, hey, look at that thing. It doesn't move. It's right there. Why don't we use that? It's like the brightest thing in the sky. Why would we choose that? This is one of those situations. There's even a term for this. I forget what the term is, but there are a lot of discoveries that, like, people create conspiracy theories about, like, how did this nation and this nation learn about this thing at the same time? They must have had communication. No, it's just literally things that people eventually arrive to. Right? 'Cause it's just like a basic thing where people interacted with similar things, and just through process of elimination, they landed on the same thing, because it was just like the only way people could move around. Wasn't there a giant black dragon bird on the mural? Maybe Emu did somehow destroy the sky. That's what I was immediately thinking, right? Because I said, did Emu destroy the sky or something? And I'm just immediately thinking about, like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, surely it doesn't make any sense, right? Like, surely. How could this get rid of a star? The Florian Triangle. Like, you can't just get rid of a star. What, you blast a star 3,000 light years away? This seems like a crazy detail to just drop. We literally have a moon base that's abandoned? Yeah, but like a moon and a star, we have been on the moon. And, getting to a star, You know, I am very, very intrigued by this. Especially because this is 70 years ago. And during these 70 years, Elbaf has not faced a massive attack. So I presume this information must have at least been... This is crazy. This is very, very, very odd. Very, very odd. Because I'm just thinking, surely even within Elbaf, this information must have been shared. I saw someone talking about four something in a laugh tale. Where was that? My theory is that Polestar, or one of the unmoving stars, is one of the four coordinates for the laugh tale. That would make a lot of sense. If there is... We talked about this, like, obviously we never talked about stars, right? But I remember we talked about, what if one of the things... If one of the things for finding the laugh tale... or the One Piece, is a specific, like a modifier, you must know. Right? So, like, one of the coordinates might not be a coordinate. It might be, like, time. Like, you need to see this on June 2nd of whatever. Right? And only then you can decipher what this actually means. Like, one of the things might be a cipher for the rest. Because, like, the natural assumption was always that, like, it's 4 because, you know, X marks the spot. But what if there's something more to that? A star among us, Luffy? True. Time makes sense because Roger said they were too early. I have a feeling that, like, this star thing is unironically going to turn out to be one of the most crucial things in the final saga. It's mentioned so casually. And to think that, like, we have spent 1,000+ chapters of this story believing that the only way to maneuver through the Grand Line and really anything that we've done post Logtown is with a thing that points you literally in one direction and that's it. And suddenly a dude is like, nah, you don't need any of that, just look up, bro. Just look at the sky, bro. Touch some grass. And I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Okay, let's see. You said you met a mermaid, King Harald. Yes, I have at last. Fishmen too. In the kingdom where those with fish blood live, their king has a newborn heir named Neptune. So he was there too. No, that doesn't make sense. I was about to say final red poneglyph. Doesn't make sense, because this... No, it doesn't make sense, doesn't make sense. You can triangulate coordinates on a map, 2D space with 3 points. People were roasting me for... That's apparently not possible, and I was like, what the hell are you talking about? You need 3 coordinates to triangulate a location. People were roasting me that that's not how it works, and I'm like, yes, that's exactly how it works. That's why it's called triangulation. You need 3 coordinates. But it's 4 because you just need whoosh. You just need whoosh. I think. Okay, all these creatures of the sea, not just mermaids and fishmen, were engaged in a grand celebration that spanned the sea floor. That sounds interesting. Sounds very interesting. Isn't the Grand Line the only part of the world where navigation doesn't work? Yeah, but that's literally the only place we care about, right? You only need 3 unless you need a time coordinate, plus you need 4 poneglyphs because it makes an X in One Piece. I think the only reason we have 4 is because it makes... like X marks the spot pirates, right? But I don't know if that's the intention. I have always thought that there is something more, personally, because this is Oda. Even if there wasn't something more, I guarantee now there is something more. What if the star alignment is the time coordinate? Wouldn't be surprised. I actually really like that idea. Is it canon that times move slower in Elbaf? Nothing's been confirmed, but there's a lot of sus business. People were debating this in the last chapter video as well. There are a lot of things that start getting very, very messy as soon as you have time dilation. And I mean, anything to do with any kind of time shenanigans will get very, very messy. And I think, like, yeah, it's complicated, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Aurust Castle, Elbaf 63 years ago, while Harald was away from home. Congratulations, my queen! It's a very healthy boy. His name is Loki. The king and I decided on it. Now show me the baby. So, we have confirmed one thing. Loki's eyes, They're cursed. Maybe literally. Why are his eyes cursed? I don't know. But what the hell is wrong with his eyes? They look like lizard eyes. Bro has the frenzied flame. Oh, it's terrifying! Your Majesty, it's horrid! What is that thing? That is no son of mine! Please, Your Majesty, try to remain calm. Tell the kingdom that he was stillborn. You can't be serious. It is accursed! Just look at that baby! It's a monster! Are we going to have another poor kid? Another poor kid that is like, we don't want him because he looks slightly off? That's crazy. Loki hides his eyes like Katakuri hides his mouth? Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, or the putting third eye too. Oda really likes doing this, doesn't he? I think baby Loki looks very cute. I mean, the eyes are a little bit cursed, but at the same time, like, this is the world of One Piece. Like, are you really going to think that the eyes are such a big deal? Like, let's be real here. I think of all the things we have seen, having like slightly weird looking eyes is not the biggest thing in the world. Imagine the first thing you hear when you're born is that he's a monster. I don't think that's gonna be a problem for Loki. I doubt he knows anything. He's just chilling. The Sulong eyes. I'm pretty sure we've never seen this eye design. I think you're right. This is like straight. It looks like it's kind of like a lizard-esque, alligator-esque like slit eye. Is giving Sauron. Carrot in Sulong. Did she have slits in her eyes? She did. But she, like, her eyes were double circles. It's kind of like... Let's look at the manga. Does the manga even ever show her eyes, like, up close? I think this eye design is unique. Estrid is giving competition to Historia's mom? Yes! Like, straight up. I wonder if Oars had those eyes, but in Thriller Bark, I guess he had Luffy's eyes. Yeah, the thing with the eyes was weird with like Thriller Bark and stuff. I've checked every panel. Yeah, I mean, looking at these panels that are on Google at least, like I don't really see a clear look at her eyes ever. Like right here, for example, it's entirely blacked out. You can't even see her face properly. It's just like a big roar, and that's it. Okay, let's keep going. The Prince of Elbaf grasped for the empty air, but no hands reached out to envelop his own. Bro, that's all kinds of messed up. What the hell? That's crazy. Stop, Your Majesty! He's the royal heir! The most unfortunate of all living creatures is the one whose very existence is denied by its mother in the moment of its birth. Like, actually competing with Historia's mom. Luffy out here liberating people from discrimination and racism. People here saying that Loki's eyes are cursed. I am like, I am very surprised that it's just the eyes that had them like, oh no, this is a cursed baby. Very extreme reaction to have. But at the same time, maybe it is fitting that she, like, maybe Oda made her paranoid with these, like, this is good luck, this is bad luck. Because she would condemn her own son. Because he has slightly different eyes. So maybe if this was Harald, he would be like, oh, aren't you a curious one? And that's it. Maybe that's why Oda specifically wrote her to be, like, paranoid with this stuff. Maybe. Because, I mean, look at this. Even like, everything she says, it's all about her, right? Do you hear me? I bore no child. Do not tell a soul about this. But what are you planning to do? I'm going back home. I never want to bear another child. Your Majesty! Head guardsman! Down in the underworld. What about the underworld? Oda, my man. So we have learned one thing. Number one, he looks like the green baby in JoJo. Spoilers. Spoilers, 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 spoilers. He looks like the green baby. And now he is crawling up the tree. Which is a very weird thing to do, but it is what it is. That's a sick panel. It's a diabolical panel. It's an absolutely diabolical panel that he's literally crawling up the world tree in snow. Tears coming out of his eyes, a goddamn baby. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, at this point, I think it's fair to say, I saw someone mention this right here. Rejected by everyone, accepted by Luffy. Yeah, at this point, he's gonna be on Luffy's side. Unless he's going to do like some kind of Loki thing where he's like, I don't want any of, like, basically there is still a chance, I think, where Loki starts going against Elbaf, but not as a form of I want Elbaf to fall, but as just a, this system needs to go down. This whole king business, everything else needs to go down, or something like that, right? But nah, he's not a bad guy. He's not a bad guy. It's very curious. Can I just shoot out a theory that is gonna make no sense? What if he was born with a devil fruit? Something about this whole thing seems slightly off. And I think there might be something with the special bounty that we might not even think about yet. Look closely, baby Loki beheaded the giant bear. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Is it actually supposed to be beheaded? I think it is. I think it is. We quote-unquote know that he quote-unquote killed Harald and then ate the devil fruit. My spidey senses are tingling. Something about him is special. There's something more going on. Something else is going on. He is like, there was a theory about Bonnie too being born with it, yeah. Something about him is off. Because why is he like, fate almost seems to be like, this unironically seems like a JoJo thing, where like the world itself suddenly begins to revolve around him and he is like things around him are just happening. And I think that is very, very interesting. Like something about that seems very, very interesting to me. Loki casually survived a bigger fall than Kaido as a baby and is unbelievably strong. Yeah, that's what I mean. Something about this whole thing is giving me vibes that there is something to him that, like, something completely different. This might be where Oda introduces the Loki angle. Like, why he is Loki in the first place. I think there's going to be something to him that might be completely transcendent to what we know so far. Again, this is me basing it off the fact that it's just Loki, right? And this might just be like a bias of mine that I'm like, well, it's Loki, there has to be something with Loki. But the fact that he is just like as a baby doing all this stuff, casually offing people with aura, like straight up kills a bear with aura. Just with aura, plain aura. And I'm just like, how does this happen? And then I'm like, this is Loki. The accursed prince. Something about him. I don't know. I don't know. Get rid of the child. There was a prophecy before it was born. The prophecy said that King Harald would one day be killed by his own son. Not that madness again. Oh, so she came up with the prophecy and she repeated it to her people. It became self-fulfilling and people believed it. This is why I don't like these people. I said 100 things, 150 different things. Eventually something similar happened to what I said, therefore I am right. And well, wait.
And while Harald was busy banging his head against the problems of national relations,
the world government has stepped into our to block our path again. Why can't countries be free to decide for themselves? Hey, can I see the baby too? He's your brother. He's not your son, so he's not my brother. Aw, you're even sweet like that. Very diabolical, okay.
all of the misfortunes that would fall upon Elbaf would be known as Loki's curse.
So, yeah, so Loki's actually a good guy. I know it's a big twist. Loki's gonna be a good guy. Which is gonna be kind of crazy. Because that almost puts him in a very similar camp as Kuma. Because judging by what we're gonna see in this flashback, I am going to assume that Loki had every reason to be a villain. But now that Luffy has met him, I don't think he's gonna be a villain. Which again puts him in the same exact camp as Kuma. A person who has literally had every single bad thing happen to them, every single reason to become a baddie, every single reason to actually do bad stuff because they even have the power to do bad stuff. But they don't. Now, I'm still reserving judgment. Because it's Loki. And if I was Oda, and I wanted to throw my readers through this big hoop-de-loop, where I'm like, hey, he's bad, ha, gotcha, no, it's another flashback to show you that he's actually good, but wait a minute, there's something underneath? That might be interesting. That might be interesting. My currently, like, completely unfounded theory that I know makes no sense, why would anyone even say this? I think there might be with him and him being born with a devil fruit. There's still some stuff from his teenage years, like burning down villages. I wonder if that's also just a coincidence. I assume that he has done a bunch of bad stuff, but, like, it became a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Where maybe the trouble he got into was, like, everything was attributed to him. So, like, for example, he wanted to steal a piece of bread, but at the same time, there was a guy who left his stove on and the house burned down. And instead of the house burning down and the bread being stolen by Loki, well, no, Loki now burned the house down and stole bread. I think there might be something like that where there is a kernel of truth where Loki was still doing bad things because, like, I mean, a lot of the time, seemingly he didn't really have any other choice, right? Like, he was just kind of on his own. But I don't know. I don't know. This backstory might be true, but the one he tells about Harald's death might be a trick. Yeah, that's why I keep saying. That's why I keep saying. That's why I keep saying, like, something. I reserve judgment. I reserve judgment about something weird. I reserve judgment. I reserve judgment. Loki is I had a thought. Could the person Loki has been communicating with be Harjudin's mother? She seemed like she accepted him too. Honestly, very good guess. I think this is a very, very good guess. It definitely makes a lot more sense than what I said about there being two Lokis. Because let's be real, my theory that there might be another Loki is kind of diabolical. And by diabolical, I mean stupid. I like to think that Rox was actually a cool dude, like Shanks and Loki wanted to join him because he was wholesome, not because he's a psycho. Rox is a weird one, because Rox has clearly been... Like, Rox is clearly misunderstood in many ways, and, like, the identity of Rox has been hijacked by a bunch of people. Like, most of all, Blackbeard, obviously, right? Like, the Saber of Zebek and all that. Because we don't know enough about Rox to really say what he was or what he has done. But, like, the God Valley incident for it. Well, to be fair, the same thing kind of applies to Blackbeard, right? Like, in terms of freeing people. They just free people in messed up ways. So, I don't know. I guess we're just gonna have to wait to find out more about Rox. I don't think there's enough to say, really. Maybe the reason Loki is so drawn to Rox is because they have the same eyes? Maybe. Maybe. That would be an interesting parallel. Maybe something like what happened with Usopp, but at a bigger scale. Maybe who wanted his mother's attention, that's why he did the bad stuff. I can see something like that, too. I remember that Oda doesn't give the same story character to people, even when he uses historical names like Bonnie, and Bonnie is nothing like jewelry. I mean, yeah, but there's definitely inspirations, right? Like the historical Blackbeard is split among, like, multiple characters in One Piece, right? Like, there's Blackbeard, there's also Whitebeard and stuff. Oda definitely takes inspiration, and some of the names are mostly accurate. In terms of, like, Norse lore, like Ragnir. Like, it's obviously, again, it's Ragnarok and it's Mjolnir, right? So, it's kind of 50-50. With this chapter, I feel like Loki and Yonko level. I think Loki is a very, very weird thing in terms of, I think, power dynamics and world dynamics. Because the whole special bounty stuff, clearly there is something to Loki that might completely transcend what we know, and that's what I keep saying. I think something about Elbaf and something about Loki, there is a reason why he has a special bounty. There's a reason why Shamrock was trying to, like, pseudo recruit him. I think something around him and why he has been kept around and locked up for all this time, something is going on with him. And I think the power he might possess might be different to what we imagine. But I don't know what it is. It's not largely different this chapter. Last Stephen Paul of Wiz made a mistake. He said he will correct it in the volume. I saw that the latest volume of One Piece in general has a bunch of mistakes. So that might even be like an Oda thing. I saw people were talking about that. I think it was Sandman too. But I mean, this chapter is a crazy chapter. This panel right here is obviously my favorite one. This is one of my favorite this is one of my favorite panels in a while. The Loki thing. That was great. Next chapter is, I presume, going to be more of the flashback. Because I think if we have started going through this stuff, then I mean, I guess we're gonna be locked in. I'm so sad I got spoiled. I mean, if I saw this panel, I don't even know what I'd think. I don't think I'd even think it's Loki. So if I saw this, I probably wouldn't really care that much. But I didn't see this, which I'm very happy about. I think if I saw this out of context, I might genuinely think it's a JoJo like fan art. Big Mom just got dumped on the island after he was born. There's so many mentions. So 63 years ago, she was dropped off at Elbaf, and her parents never returned. And at the same time, Loki... Bro, we just talked about like all the bad stuff that Loki might be blamed for. It has to do with Big Mom, doesn't it? Yeah, no wonder they think Loki has bad luck. Of course! No wonder they think it's Loki because Big Mom was dropped off. That makes a lot of sense. Loki was born when Big Mom burned the whole village. Yeah, I mean, look at this right here. Look at how funny this looks. I'm gonna go into this. Charlotte Linlin was dropped off at Elbaf at her birth, and her birth parents never returned. She gets taken care of by Mother Carmel, right? Shortly after his birth, his mother, Queen Estrid, throws him into Elbaf's underworld, yet he crawls... So this is talking about Loki. Loki seemingly kills the royal family's lucky horse afterward. On the 7th day of fasting, 5 days before the Winter Solstice Festival, Linlin destroys a village on Elbaf after a craving of semla, killing Ja Rule in the process. The Sheep's House leaves Elbaf. February 15th, sometime after the Sheep's House celebrates Linlin... It's just Big Mom. Bro, this part of the history is actually insane. I'm just wondering how these things fit together, and it's crazy. They blame Big Mom, though, not Loki, for the accident. I think a lot of what's gonna happen around the island will be, like... I think, basically, a lot of stuff happened to Elbaf at the same time, and Loki is going to get the blame for a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with him, effectively. Just because the queen kind of poisoned the minds of everyone there. Biggest takeaways from this, I completely, like, we talked about Loki a lot. I think the star mention, it was mentioned in one panel, and that's it. Like, what do you mean? The star thing is huge. I need to know what people are saying about this. I am currently betting on how many theories. Number one, Loki might be born with a devil fruit. That's my number one nonsensical theory. Theory number two, the star thing. Someone has the power to obstruct stars in some capacity. Maybe Emu. Doesn't make any sense. But maybe. That's it. That's all I have for theories. New theories, at least. I really don't think is that important. I think Oda forgot about non-existence of navigation in the Grand Line. No, I don't buy that. I don't buy that. It's such an integral part of the world of One Piece. I don't think Oda could just be like, oh yeah, this guy just knows how to navigate by the stars. Because that is such an absurd, like, again, this is one of those things that, like, you see on the paper and you're just like, oh, that's obvious. But because, like, One Piece was always built out with the whole, like, log posts and stuff like that, it literally basically told you nothing works except this. And you're like, okay, so I'm not even going to entertain anything else. And the fact you have someone just, like, literally just straight up say, bro, look up. It is like, it feels like it's going to have, like, ripple effects for most of the story. Could this mean giants don't use log posts? We've only ever seen them human-sized. That is true, but we know that at least wasn't Dory and Broggy the ones who told the Straw Hats about, like, they know how they work. Because I'm pretty sure they said, like, you have to spend a certain amount of time here for your thing to adapt, right? So, I think they're pretty familiar, at least, with how they work. But I don't know. I don't know. It's a very, very weird thing to mention. So, we'll see. We'll see. Alright, that's it. That's all I wanted to yap about. I believe we are indeed on break. Unfortunately. July 13th, yes. If you're not going to join us for the next couple of streams, next main channel videos, everything else, next main channel video is Breaking Bad. So keep an eye out for that. I hope to be back a few more times throughout the week. Probably not tomorrow, but we'll see. And if not, then I'll see you in 2 weeks. That's it. Thanks for joining me. Have a good one. Bye-bye.